Hi, I'm Chris Scott with the Caddis Fly Shop in Eugene. Today we're going to tie a searching mayfly nymph pattern beadhead fly. This is called the blue goose Biot Mayfly Nymph. So to start this fly, we've got a Chamco 2457 number 12 and a gold tungsten bead. This is a 1/8 inch tungsten bead. For thread we're using the Vivus GSP gel spun thread in white. I'll start the fly by starting the thread behind the bead. Cut off the excess there and work this to the back of the hook. For the tail we're using some brown henback material like this. I'm going to take the feather and strip off the fluff at the bottom of it. Take about a dozen strands of it off of the feather there. We're going to tie that into the back. There we go. I'm going to use this excess to kind of build up the body, so I'm going to tie that in underneath the thread and then clip off some of the excess up here. Now for the abdomen of this thing, we're using this blue, dyed blue Biots. So I'm going to tie that in with the pointy end to the shank, right in front of the tail. I'll get that cinched up there nice and tight and get the thread up out of the way. Now I'm going to take a little hackle plier. This is a stone faux hackle plier, and grab this Biot by the end.
You could put glue on the shank now or after you've wrapped it, but I think adding something to the Biot for strength is a good idea.
Yeah. You might have a problem keeping that Biot tied down to the shank. It might take a try or two. There we go. Go. Then I'll just wrap that forward. And then tie it off up there by the front, just like so. Then we'll kind of clean that up with a few thread wraps. Now I'll bring the thread back to where I can tie in the wing case. Today we're using natural pheasant tail for the wing case. I'll take about a dozen pieces of it and I'm going to square up the ends so it's nice and clean as I tie them in there. This makes a nice natural wing case. And once I got that connected here, I can take my dubbing that we're going to build the thorax with. This is a UV pearl ice dub. We'll pull some of that out here, and we're not going to do a dubbing loop because we don't want this to be too fluffy. So I'll just take some nice and loose and spin it right onto the thread. There we go. And I can start building the thorax now, just wrapping this back from the bead. And then I'll come back forward. Now I can take the wing case, pull it forward, and we'll tie it down right in behind the bead. I want the thorax to be about as big as the bead here. A couple nice loose wraps just to hold that in place, and I can cut off the excess. We're going to take a couple more of these Biots now and make some legs out of them. I'm going to tie one in on each side coming off the bead. So I'll tie one in on one side, a couple loose wraps to hold it in place again. I can move it around to where I like it, about like right there. Looks great. Cut off some of the excess there. We can clean that up in a sec. And I'll put one on the other side now, just like I did the first, with a wrap or two nice and loose just to hold it in place. Maybe one more, make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Then I'll cut off the excess. Now I can clean this up and clean up those tags just by wrapping over them and pulling snug with the thread. That should pull the material in tight behind the bead and make the end kind of a little cleaner than it was to start. There we go. There we go. And today we're going to use this gigantic long reach whip finisher, it's called. And typically this would be used for much larger, longer flies, so you can reach in past the eye, down the shank, and whip finish in multiple places on the fly.
Tube flies, awesome.
Or tube flies, yeah, tube flies work great. But as you can see, it works great just for this too. I'll cut off the thread. There we go.